All right. So we are just wrapping up week 2, coming into week 3. Let's jump on the scales and see how you guys did your second weigh-in, and then we get to some standings.
Katie, 191.8.
Herman, 255.6. Okay, Carmen, 255.6.
I have our standings right here. And after two full weeks, in 6th place, down 3.2 pounds, 1.3%, our pregnant mama, Miss Anya. In 5th place, down 5.7 pounds, 2.47%, Svetlana. In 4th place, down 6.7 pounds, 2.55%, Carmen. Awesome job. In 3rd place, down 9.4 pounds, 3.19%, Miss Angela. In 2nd place, down 10.6 pounds, 6.38%, Rosie. Awesome job. She had another big drop last week. In 1st place, down 15.8 pounds, 7.61%, Katie. Awesome job, ladies. New decades this week. Rosie is in the 150s. That had to feel so good getting on the scale this morning, being like, you know, every decade is like another step. Like, you know, pounds don't seem as big, but when you get into a new decade, it's like such a big deal. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm in a new decade. So anyway, and for those of us that start off over 200 pounds or over 300 pounds, like Wonderland is, I can remember when the scale had a 1 in front of it, and I was like, oh my gosh. I'm in, like, it was like a day of, you know, it was like a day of celebration for sure. I mean, by celebration, I mean an extra workout. No food celebration, no donuts, no margaritas, no rosé all day. Like, it was like, let me sweat. Let me sweat. That'll be my celebration. So anyway, awesome job, ladies. Awesome job. All right. So what we're going to talk about tonight, what we're going to dive in tonight, this is a big one. And you know, whether someone deals with being overweight or not, this is something that I believe every human on the planet has dealt with at some point and deals with, and it is emotional eating. And I have never met a human that doesn't deal with this, and I have never met someone who has a weight problem who doesn't like deal with this a lot. And so think about it. Like, emotional eating is when we eat based on an emotion, right? And so what we're going to be looking at tonight, because we have what we call triggers. When we emotionally eat, there's something that triggers us to have an emotion. And then we self-medicate with food. So there's a trigger that happens. It makes us have a certain emotion, and then we cope or we self-medicate by eating food. And it's not logical at all, because if you think about it, after you go in the kitchen and you eat a bunch of crap, how do you actually feel after that? Like, it never really works. Like, it's not like you go get Taco Bell or McDonald's or eat a whole thing of ice cream and you get done and you're like, oh my gosh, I could like take on the world. Let's go. Like, we never have, like, it's always, then we're like stuffed and we're full and we fall asleep and or we feel worse about ourselves. And in a lot of cases, this is like where like eating disorders start, right? Like bulimia and things like that, because you eat and then you have regret and then they throw up, right? And so there's nothing healthy at all about using food to self-medicate or using food to get over whatever emotion it is you're having. So the first, and most people, if you talk to most people, they'll be like, yeah, I'm an emotional eater. But what they don't think about is there's always a cause to why we do something. So most people never dissect what emotional eating is. They never look at what triggers us to eat. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And so for a lot of us, the root of this started when we were little, when you were a little kid, because we don't just eat for unhappy emotions. Think about it. How many of you guys, when you were little and you did good on your report card or your team did good at a soccer game or a baseball game, and they were like, oh my gosh, you guys won, let's go get ice cream. Or you did good on your report card and they took you to get food, right? So a lot of times when we were little, we were rewarded with treats, sweets, pizza, McDonald's. I mean, I even remember in school, I would be rewarded by Pizza Hut for reading books. And so, we oftentimes as a child, we were rewarded for good behavior with food, right? Think about it. If you finish your dinner, you can have a snack or a treat or ice cream or whatever. And then on the opposite, if you don't finish your dinner, you're not getting nothing else, right? Or some of us were not allowed to leave the table until we cleaned our plate. So we developed a habit that we can't, and some of you still carry that with you today, that you feel guilty if you go to a restaurant and you don't eat everything on your plate. And so there's all different, think about the different emotions we have. We have the happy emotion. We have sad. We have lonely. We have frustrated. We have pissed. We have celebrations, we have holidays, we have late nights, we have angry, we have frustrated. And right now, most of you have never thought about emotional eating to this level before, okay? But when you start thinking about, okay, when do I eat? When am I like, oh my gosh? Because when you're triggered, this is when you go eat. And after you do this enough times, now you've created a super highway between the emotion and eating. So now when it happens, you immediately just go to the kitchen. You immediately just want to go get food because now you have this habit of, I'm sad, I want to eat. I'm happy, I want to eat. It's late night, I want to eat. It's holidays, I want to eat. I'm celebrating, I'm happy, I'm filled with joy, let's eat. And for some of us, we like to celebrate all the emotions with food. Woohoo! I'm happy! Donuts! Woohoo! I'm pissed off! Freaking son of a gun! Don't want to eat too. Like, right? When I'm pissed or frustrated, I eat and clean. I used to eat and clean. Like, I'll scrub something and I'll eat some chocolate. And I'll scrub something else and organize something and eat something. And so we all have our emotions, but here's what I'm going to say. What so many people try to do is they try to avoid the emotion. They try to avoid the trigger. Well, I'm just not going to get mad anymore. Yeah, okay. Good luck with that one. I'm not going to be sad anymore. Good luck with that one. A trigger for me used to be getting in the car. That was a trigger. Driving was a trigger. Road trips were a trigger. My husband not being home and me being by myself was a trigger because there's no way I was going to eat in front of him the way I ate without him. Being home alone was a trigger for me. I had all these triggers that when this happened, it would trigger me to eat. We're never going to get rid of the triggers. Could I expect that I'm never going to be alone again? That's not fun. Or that I'm never going to get in a car again, or I'm never going to be frustrated again, or I'm never going to be mad again, or I'm never going to be sad again. No, but it's figuring out, okay, it's not expecting that to never happen. What it's realizing is, okay, this is a trigger for me. When I'm happy and I want to celebrate, I want to go eat. Happiness celebrates me to want to eat. When I'm sad, this triggers me to want to eat. When I'm home alone and I'm lonely, this triggers me to want to eat. For some of you, success can trigger you to want to eat. The worst thing about success is a little bit, you have a little bit of success, you start losing weight, you get down in size, you start, feeling good about yourself, you getting your booty back, you're like, woo, I can see some side abs. All of a sudden it's like, it's just a donut, it's just a cookie. I can have a bite, I can have one. So for a lot of us, success can be a trigger. If you are married to another human, I promise you, they know how to trigger you. So here's what I will tell you guys. Nothing about being overweight is logical. Nothing. Like all of us know the food's not going to make us feel better. It's not going to help with the problem. Being overweight is all emotional. It is 100% emotional. Like all of us know to lose weight, I just need to move more, eat less, right? But then we don't do it because we have these days that are filled with emotions. And when our emotions come, we get triggered and then we go eat. Okay. So it's figuring out. So we're never going to get rid of the emotions. We live on planet Earth with other people, unless we're going to build our own planet with our own gated community and put zap colors on everybody. Like we're just not going to get rid of people and emotions. So it's figuring out how, when I'm triggered, how when I face this trigger, because the trigger is going to happen again, can I have a different way that I choose to act? Because listen to me, when you popped out of the womb, and it's wild to me, because when my 4-year-old gets frustrated, she doesn't want to eat. When she has something good happen, she doesn't want to eat. When we're celebrating, she doesn't want to eat. Why? Because how did we learn when we celebrate that we needed to eat? Where did we learn that?
Learned it from our parents.
We learned it growing up. So if you're a parent, please do not reward your kids with food. Do not reward them with food and do not take food away to be a consequence. Because they learn for good behavior, they get to eat like crap. And for bad behavior, they have to eat good. For bad behavior, they have to eat their vegetables and they can't have any sugar. So now what do they associate? Bad behavior with vegetables, good behavior with crap. So, and again, as parents, no one teaches us this stuff, right? I only figured this out because I went through this when mine were tiny little kids. I went through all of this with myself and I was like, oh my gosh, I've been programmed from the time I was tiny to be obese. And so it's finding these triggers and being like, okay, the next time I'm frustrated, instead of eating, when I get frustrated, here's what I'm going to do instead. So it's figuring out what can you replace eating with as a coping mechanism, as a way to de-escalate, as a way to deal with the emotion. So for me, I work 20 hours a week from home, with the exception of when we're speaking and things like that, then obviously we're gone for days at a time. But my normal every day to day, I'm home with my kids. I work from home. My husband works from home. We both work from home and we're home. Our kids are homeschooled. So is it logical or realistic for me to expect that my kids aren't going to frustrate me at some point? Nope. Is it logical to think that some days I'm not going to want to shove them back in where they came from? No. Like no, they're gonna frustrate me. Like that's gonna happen. It's guaranteed. So it's okay. When the kids frustrate me, is me going and grabbing a drumstick from the freezer and going to my car to eat it the best thing? No. So what can I do the next time I get frustrated, I get triggered by frustration with my kids? So it was like, okay, one thing that I would do. So I started making things. So it was like, okay, I'm going to go sit on my front porch and I'm going to drink 30 ounces of water, cold water. And I gotta tell you, sitting on my front porch, we live back in the woods. Our driveway's like a third of a mile long. So you can't see any neighbors. You can see horses and woods and hear the, the whatever. And like I sit out there, by the time I drink 30 ounces of cold water, whatever I'm frustrated about has passed. Right? So the next thing, one of the other ways that I deal with that trigger of frustration with my kids is I take a walk down my driveway. So even if I get frustrated, instead of blowing my top at my kids, it's like, you know what? Okay. Aiden, buddy, we're going to talk about this in a couple minutes. Go to your room. I'll be back in a minute. I go sit on the front porch. And sometimes it's just like that. I'm like, okay, go to your room. We're going to talk about this in a couple minutes. Okay. Mommy will be up in a minute. Go. Cause I just want to like, and so I go sit on the front porch. I drink my water. And why? I feel better. Do I feel good when I scream at my son? Do I feel good when I blow my top and then have to go back and say, please forgive mommy for losing her patience? That was my issue, not yours. And I should not have reacted that way. That was really immature of me. And it doesn't solve anything. So please forgive me. No, I don't have to do that. So it's better. And then I go eat because then I feel bad. So no, let me send him to his room, or you know what? Just finish doing the laundry. I'm going to go. I'll be back in a few minutes and we'll chat about this. Okay. And now I have a cooler head. I'm not in the mood to eat. Then I can come back not mad, not triggered. So again, you can make up, I'm just giving you a couple examples of what mine are. You can make up anything that you can do that's going to de-escalate you. Does that make sense? For me, drinking cold water and sitting in a quiet place. Another one that helps me is I have a playlist. And it's, music really helps de-escalate me, the right music. So I have a playlist, it's empowering. It's like, quite a bit of Christian music, and I put it on, I drink cold water, something about cold water really helps me personally, not warm water, cold water. And, it just really helps if I get in a fight with my husband. If we're having a disagreement, I will go up and take a shower with a shower steamer. Something about putting a shower steamer with essential oils in the bottom of my shower and all the oils and the smells in the shower, just like, okay, I love him. I love him. He loves me. Right? Like it allows me to detach from the emotion. And so it was like, okay, when this happens, here's what I'm going to do. Like taking a hot shower with the steamer feeds me emotionally. Being outside in nature and listening to music, like it feeds me. It fills me up. It's taking care of my emotional state. Because when you're not taking care of your emotional state, you're triggered much more easy. Have you noticed that? When you're lacking on sleep, when you're frustrated, you never notice how much easily triggered you are sometimes. So when you're taking care of yourself emotionally, you get triggered much less. And it's really getting down to, okay, instead of reacting and choosing to react by eating or yelling or whatever, here's what I'm going to do instead. And eventually what will happen is you're going to make a different choice. When you come to this fork in the road, here's frustration, here's eating, here's taking a walk. I'm going to choose this one. Even though in the beginning, this is the comfortable one. This is the natural one. This is the one you've been doing, but this is the one I'm going to choose to do moving forward. And in the beginning, this one's going to be the habit. This one's going to be the new choice. But over time, as you do this one more and more and more and more and more, whatever we do repeatedly over and over and over again becomes the new habit. My question for you tonight, what is at least one trigger that you have thought of and that you know we need to address ASAP?
Okay, I for sure have a trigger of sensory overload, living with 6 boys. Since everybody wants to talk to mom at the same time, and I fritz out. And usually I would go eat a snack And so instead, I'm gonna go take a walk outside and take some deep breaths and enjoy some space before I flip out and eat.
Okay. Okay, so I wrote down a few. I'm realizing that actually I have more triggers than I thought. But and success being one of them. Like you said, I don't know if it's like a self-sabotage or what, but I think just for this situation or this example, being overwhelmed, like too much going on, too many things that need to be done at once, I think can cause me to feel triggered. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about that, right away. And you can't snap your fingers and make it go away. So I think maybe if I'm feeling that way, I just need to choose one of those things and do it, instead of feeling like there's too much to do. So I'm, shutting down or whatever. But yeah.
No, I can definitely relate with, sorry, it's weird staring at myself. I'm gonna try to look at someone else. I can relate with Angela too, being overwhelmed. I had that a lot when I was actually pregnant, postpartum baby, like you have so much to do and then you just don't do anything. One thing that I recognize right away that just tends or has been happening over and over again because I went to work full time is it's not an emotion, but the dirty house. I go to the house, it's dirty, and I get so upset and angry. And we have this deal with the husband, right? Where, okay, at least keep the bathroom downstairs, the kitchen clean. I mean, I know it sounds dumb, but I approached him one time. I was like, listen, dude, we had an agreement. What's going on? I cleaned it last week. Was what I got yeah. I was like, sir, nope. So I get super upset and yeah, then I get angry at the kids. Not that they did anything wrong, but now they're in my way because I can't clean a snack. And literally didn't even think twice. And then I was like, wait, I can't have a snack. I need to do something else. I need to just go wrap it up, go to bed, right? So I don't know. I think, and at work, I have the same reaction. Work, I feel it's like same like with the house. It's a reflection of me, right? If I walk in and the work environment, just physically, it doesn't matter about how much work we actually did or how productive or efficient we were. If it looks messy and dirty, it's chaotic. It's clutter. You can't work, you can't function. And yeah, you want to go grab a snack. We'll call it a snack, okay? So let's see, what am I gonna do about this? Well, first of all, I have to call a house cleaner. That's been in the plan, so I'll probably set that up this week because I already got a couple quotes. It's just a matter of picking a house cleaner, but I don't know. I feel like I should be able to keep up with it. So I've been putting it off because I'm like, oh, well, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. And it's just not figuring itself out. So that's one thing. And then with work, I'm Natasha Uji, я сейчас занята. And then maybe when I get frustrated with my husband, I think doing something like going outside, drinking the water will probably help. Or I also put like, if I am in a place where I can walk away and just go like pray, just take it to the Lord in a sense, because I apologize. This is very uncanny timing right now. So yeah, I think that's my solution. I have to like write it down. I think I'm gonna, yeah, if I'm in a place, I'll go like pray, and then if not, I'll go grab a water or some water and go outside, probably to the backyard, so the kids don't go out the front yard, and then I'll maybe swing on, we have a little, adult swing, and we can swing on that and drink water, cold ice water.
So for me, the number one thing that came is overwhelm. It's one of the things that, like, if I had like a stressful day at work and I have a lot of things to do when I get home, I have to answer emails, I have to do so many things, I shut down and I do nothing. I ignore everything. I start looking at clothes online and I don't care who's calling me, who's texting me, I don't care. And then I eat to make myself feel better. It's usually like cookies or stuff like that. So one of the things that I have to that I have to work to get better at, it's time management, so that I don't have, like, I leave everything for last minute. Like, I am like a procrastinator all the way. I get it done, but then I'm stressed because I'm overwhelmed. So I do the things I'm not supposed to do, and then I self-sabotage everything. So something that I am working, it's like trying to how to manage my time, and to also maybe like, okay, let me sit down, let me think and write everything down. That's what I'm thinking, how I'm going to tackle this. It's like sitting down and writing, okay, I can do this day, and just have it planned so it doesn't overwhelm me, and then I just shut my whole body down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my biggest trigger is overwhelm
Yeah.
and anxiety. But I'm anxious because I'm overwhelmed.
Exactly. 100%. The overwhelm comes first, and then we react by having anxiety, and then we eat, right? And we check out, because if we check out, the anxiety goes away. We can just numb out and forget about our lives and go look at someone else's problems and shop.
Yes.
That's awesome. Do you know what I did see? I did not know. So when Rosie had her eye surgery and I didn't know if she was okay, I went to her Facebook. I'm like, and her Instagram, I'm like, let me see, before I get on her about not posting, let me make sure she's okay. And I saw she was posting on social. So I said, hey, I know you're okay. You're posting on social media. But you know what I saw? You got the boots.
Huh?
You know what I saw when I was stalking you to see if you were okay? You got the boots.
Of course I did. I told you I was gonna get them. I did.
They look so good.
So I had to like hunt them down because they were sold out. And they were sold out. So I like did my research, and I found someone who has like little boutique and was like reselling them through their boutique.
They look so
And
good.
everywhere I go, so like I went to, so when I do, I wear them when I go to shows, because you have to wear it for shows. I can't go pick up my kids at school with those boots. And everyone's like, oh my God, your boots. I'm like, I know. I saw them on someone and I had to buy them.
For those that don't know, they're all the way up over your knee, and they are sparkle from toe to knee.
Yes.
Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle.
They're beautiful. They're gorgeous.
They are beautiful boots. They are beautiful
Yeah.
boots.
And
Yeah.
I had to have them.
They look great on you. So when I was stalking you the day to make sure
Thank
you were
you.
okay, I told Jackie, my husband, she got the boots. And he's like, what boots? I'm like, the Gianna Bini boots. And he's like, okay, whatever. So
But like that's like one of the things too. It's like I have to learn how to like say no. So right. So like my eye was like so bad, but I already committed to going to the show. And I'm like, man, do I go? Do I not go? Do I go? Do I not go? My eye, everything hurts, everything. And it's like, I just feel like I have to also learn how to say no so that I don't overwhelm myself so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just to like, okay, this is what I want to do? Is what I need to do? Like, what do where's this going to get me?
That's right.
because it's literally like, now that I'm like sitting down and thinking and being more intentional, I can see where I'm like, this is, I self-sabotage too much, too much, too much. Because I'm right there and then, oh, it's just the cookies. I'm gonna eat a cookie, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then I go down that road.
What I realized, like I have like when for shit tons of reasons. But I realized that the biggest sorry, that's my French Canadian potty mouth. Um, the main one, without really realizing it, is like I get home from work, or I would get home from work, and I just want to check out from my feelings, check out from like I'd come back and I was like, oh, I'm exhausted. Like we were talking a bit earlier. So I would just feel like I didn't have energy. So I just like plop down on the couch, put on Netflix, or do some doom scrolling on Facebook or whatever. And then not like I used to meal plan in a previous life, and I had stopped that. So then I'd be like, oh, I'm hungry. What's to eat? I'm like, oh, I didn't prepare anything, or there's nothing that I can take out of this freezer that's already like that I can just put in the microwave that was already a meal. So it's like, okay, let's call out. Or again, when the weekend would arrive, it was like, oh, yay, it's the weekend. Like I can treat myself. And then you go to the groceries and like, okay, let's get a bag of chips, a bag of candy, sit down, watch movies, and you go, weekend would go through and you had gone through the whole thing. So yeah, so with this program at the moment, my days are so full from getting up at 5 to work out and going to bed at 9 that it's not like I don't have time to necessarily have those feelings. I'd say the worst is usually on the weekends. But even that, now I'm like, for when I don't buy the food that I'm usually tempted by, so that helps a great deal. And just having more structure. So let's say on the weekends, it's like, okay, well, it's nice, it's early, I'm gonna go for a walk, I'm gonna do my workout. I create a routine. And so yes, I guess it's creating a routine, working on my self-sabotaging thoughts, and like the coming back from work and being like, oh, I'm exhausted. And yeah, and just putting in my calendar as well, like, okay, at 8:30 I have to like stop drinking my water, like turn the screens off, let's do a bit maybe of stretching, get ready, like create that nighttime routine as well. And yeah, not having the bad foods around, and if so, drinking water usually helps, or having a fruit, because usually I'd crave sweeter things. So hopefully I have a container that's free on my chart, and I'll have a fruit to make sure that I'm not hungry and just work through it. And when I do feel like, okay, well, what's the emotion triggering this? Because there are sometimes quite a few. So I guess that's pretty much it.
All right. So I've had a lot of time to think, but I mean, as soon as you were talking about triggers, I already knew what mine was. My biggest trigger, and I've laughed it off to keep from crying for years, is procrastination. And I procrastinate because I do get overwhelmed. I have a level of perfectionism in my mind. Everything has to be beautiful, everything has to be pretty. I remember even when we're doing the vision boards and we're like, just hop on Pinterest, I'm like, oh, I have to update my Canva, the template. It's just, and I'm like, and then I think Svetlana said something. She's like, yeah, I don't know how to do all that, so I'm just gonna do Pinterest. I'm like, I'm just gonna do Pinterest too. Like, what is wrong with you? And it just stops me from doing things. And I'm great at starting projects. I'm actually, I don't know, I don't want to say I'm a pretty good planner, but I plan everything. Execution is my issue. I will have it, planned from A through Z, and executing it is just the hardest thing for me. And I've just always been surrounded by strong go-getter type of people. My husband, he makes it happen. Like, I can trust that whatever he says he's gonna do, it's gonna happen. He's gonna do it. I don't need to worry about it. And growing up, my mom is the same type of way. She just gets it done, strong personality. And when I get overwhelmed so easily that I just stop. I like my friends, when they don't hear me for like 2, 3 days, they're like, okay, girl, what are you doing? Why are you spiraling? I just isolate myself. And it's just so then now I'm eating because I'm lonely. I don't have anyone to talk to, and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And I'm just in a pit, and it takes so much to crawl out. And then the depression comes in because I'm all the way in this rabbit hole that I've created for myself. Mind you, I have people around me who can and are willing and wanting to help me, but I just isolate myself from them whenever I do that. So, and I'll say being in this program has been the most amazing thing for me because it has not, I don't have room to spiral down and isolate myself because I have to check in between you ladies and my mentors. There's not a, oh, I didn't hear from you in a day or 2 days. Like, what are you doing? No. And I'm like, oh my, and it just opened my eyes to everyone around me and everything around me. Like, okay, you have to stop doing this. So I, my, my goal or my remedy to this is to reach out anyway. And just like I have to reach out anyway to you guys, reach out anyway. And I do have an area in my closet that I've designated as like a prayer room, prayer closet-ish type thing. I mean, it's practically seating room because I do laundry for 6 people in this house, and my closet is the designated area for, so the house stays clean. My closet suffers. So yeah, but I do have seating room, and I plan on getting quiet time because I have, and like Svetlana said, it's touchy mommy all the time, and they're very touchy feely boys. And so I just need personal space to just decompress and just be to myself. So I'm gonna use that as my quiet place, my alone place, when it gets overwhelming within the house. Not emotional overwhelm from procrastination and not talking to people and doing all that other stuff. But when I get overwhelmed with my 5 boys in this house, hubby included, that's gonna be what I do to help me, to remedy that.
I love that. Awesome job. Awesome job. And, there really is, when you start to verbalize it, right? And you start to, because through time, we almost give our power away. I think we forget how strong we are over time. And as we verbalize this, and as you guys verbally process it, and it's like, no, like, I do need this time to decompress, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And you start making these plans for what you're going to do the next time it happens. Little by little, you're taking your strength back, because we give our strength away little by little. And then it's like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. And we forget, no, we are strong. We are, like, when you think about any of the things that would try to keep you from getting to your goal weight, you're stronger than all of them. Part of it is choosing to believe that. Start saying it. No, I'm stronger than you, Cupcake. I'm stronger than you, Cheese. You are nothing but stinky future poop. Like, Cupcake, you are nothing but future sticky poop. Like, no, I'm stronger than you. Like, you are an inanimate object. You do not have power over me. And when you start to take that power back, and you start to remember how strong you are and what you're capable of, man, The worst thing that any human can do is settle for what life has given them. First, to settle for where they're at when you are capable of so much more. And so this week, as we come into this third week, it's really going through and looking at, okay, what are my triggers? Where am I triggered to eat? Well, how do I respond when this happens? This is what I've done in the past. And it's breaking up with who that was, with those old actions. This is what I used to do, but here is what I choose to do moving forward. Why? Because this is the new me. This is my new chapter, and I'm designing it. You are the designer, you are the writer, you are the author, and you get to choose where you go from here. You are not bound any longer by your past, by those old chapters. Those were simply lessons learned that have prepared you for right where you're at now.